since Coach Tolver wasn't able to be here. We're here today to support youth tackle football. And some of the folks who put this together, it's not like one organization who put this together. It's some of the folks from Southern California Football Coaches Association who put this together. Southern California Pop Warner, Balboa Raiders down from San Diego. So there's a lot of groups represented here today who would like to speak for just a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes each, as well as somebody running for Congress in this very district. You'll hear his story of growing up in a communist country where they weren't able to perform karate, to participate in karate, because the government was afraid of what kids knowing karate might do. So we're here today to talk about this ban on youth football that has just started at our government level. So where we're at with that, Assembly Bill 2108, right now it's called a spot bill. A spot bill means the language against youth tackle football is not in that bill yet on the Assembly website if you read it. They've got about till mid-March to get the official language into that, okay? Once that language is in, it's going to be going before a group of 8 people in an Assembly hearing. If they have a majority that votes there for that ban to go to the Assembly floor, there's 78 Assemblymen and women in California. They will then vote on whether or not that should keep going through the process. So if a majority votes to ban youth tackle football on that Assembly floor, a simple majority, then that goes to the next phase, which is a Senate hearing before 8 senators in California. If they decide, yes, let's pass this on, then it goes to the Senate floor. When it gets to the Senate floor, there's 40 senators. There, again, it's simple majority. So if 21 senators vote to ban youth tackle football, then that's what happens. If they get a majority, it can go into effect right away, but from what we know, it's not going to be a majority vote. It'll probably go into effect either January 1st, 2019 or January 1st, 2020. That's how this whole thing looks and feels. We have had some good communication with the author of the bill in Northern California, Mr. McCarty, who just told a group yesterday he wants to get together with some coaches to help co-opt that bill. So, and that's what we're trying to do as youth football coaches. There's a group of about 7 guys, youth football guys up and down the state, who've come together as leaders to lead this movement. And they're trying to take this bill on as their own, okay, so that we can work with lawmakers instead of having them just say, no more youth football. That's what we're here to talk about today. We've got a great panel to talk about that. Again, they're going to talk about 3 or 4 minutes each. But first, okay, we want you to give a warm welcome to 2 Simi Valley Vikings. Big Mike, would you stand up? And Angel Smith, would you stand up? That's what we're here for today. These 2 young men are representing tens of thousands of young boys and girls all up and down the state who want to play youth tackle football. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. First up to talk, we'd like to invite Mr. Stelian Onufrei. He is a lifelong Republican with conservative values. He's a proud first-generation American and Orange County small business owner who is a dedicated husband and father. His unique story brings a fresh perspective to public service combined with his work ethic and love for America gives Washington, D.C. exactly the medicine it needs. Stelian's success is simply a compilation of effort, determination, sacrifice, and timing. His story began in a communist Romania, and until the age of 19 was more or less a series of failed escape attempts, persecution, and oppression. Growing up under a communist regime showed him how dangerous government can become if people keep it in check, fail to keep it in check. However, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, make his way to freedom here in America. Tremendous story. He wants to make differences here in America. He's running for Congress in District 48. That's this very district. So if you live in District 48, make sure you say hello to Mr. Stelian today. Mr. Stelian.
Chris, I really appreciate the fact that you invited me, and I got to tell you, you guys are very courageous to call a politician or a candidate to speak in front of you for 3 or 4 minutes. That is just not going to happen. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I am here for a very specific reason, and I want to tell everybody why this bill represents a problem for anybody as a citizen, as a parent, as a coach. And I am very much for freedom and free choice. One of the things that, if this bill allowed to go through the way it is presented, it is going to take the choice of a parent out of their hands to educate their children any way they want. So in other words, the government is going to tell you what you can do with your child if you can allow them to play football. Next thing is going to be baseball. If they're going to get in the head, oh my God, now we got to play baseball. Then next thing is going to be swimming because the chlorine is going to mess up their eyes. So you start going on that slippery slope, you're never going to stop. One thing that the government will never be able to achieve, will never be able to take the personal responsibility as a parent from you. And we should never give that up. I'm a father, I have a 31-year-old and I got a 6-year-old. I was part of their lives, and I was right next to my daughter when she played basketball. I'm gonna be right next to my boy, whatever sport you choose to play. But if we don't have that right to be able to support our children, we let the politicians make those rules for us, then we're gonna lose our identity. The most important thing that I think everybody should take away from this meeting, and I appreciate all the coaches and everybody that's part of this effort to stop this legislation, is because of the fact that legislation cannot fix everything. Government cannot fix our problems, cannot fix our lives. They have a specific role. Unfortunately, we have politicians, for whatever reason, they're trying to think, they're thinking they're going to make our lives better. Aren't those same people that banned the plastic straws because, God forbid, if you get that, something's going to happen to you or destroy the environment? Or you got the politicians that are banning the 20-ounce drink, and now you can get only 16-ounce? Well, it's common sense. If you get a 16-ounce drink, if you want a 20, you got to go do a refill. Easy to fix, right? But this kind of, if we can allow this kind of lunacy to go on, we're going to lose our rights. And I'm here to speak against the legislation because of the fact that it doesn't make sense. I don't want the government to take the power from our hands as parents and you coaches, so tell us what to do and how to do it. I mean, I would like to take a poll right now by raising my hands. Is anybody in this room that wants their children to get in an accident or to be injured? Is anybody here that wants that? I think that everybody that I spoke to are very concerned with the safety of the children. There's no question about that. Every parent is concerned with that issue. But the bottom line is, if we allow the government to dictate what we can do, we cannot do with our children or raise our children, we're going to lose our identity as people. We're going to lose our identity as a country. I was born and raised in Romania. Like Chris said, we could not practice martial arts. The only thing you can do judo. Other than that, everything was banned. Well, I practiced wrestling, I practiced boxing, but I would really like to practice martial arts. But the government said no. You cannot do it because you're going to represent some kind of danger to our people in some fashion. And because it was communist, because we were so subjugated and indoctrinated that way, we have to abide. But we have to listen to the law. Well, I don't want this to happen in the United States. That's the reason I'm running for Congress, because I want to make sure that I can take this message to Washington and to the whole country. I want everybody to understand how easy it is to start going down the slope, and then you get to a point of no return, and our country's going to be different. And I hope that with whatever you guys do, I will support you, and I'll be speaking anytime anybody's asking me to do so, although it's a little bit dangerous to call people like me on your meetings. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Onufrei. Remember, Congress, running for Congress here in District 48. Next up is Coach Bert Esposito. Coach Esposito has been coaching high school sports for 35 years here in Southern California. He's been a head varsity football coach for 25 of those years, leading the programs at Southern California Christian, Linfield Christian, Riverside Ramona, Rancho Verde, Paloma High School, and recently named the head football coach at Temecula Valley High. During his football coaching tenure, he's won many league championships, a CIF championship, and taken 4 different football programs to CIF semifinals. Coach Esposito's main goal as a coach is to make a positive difference in the lives of his student athletes. He's been involved with the Southern California Football Coaches Association for 10 years and serves as the president at this time. In 2014, he was honored with winning a CIF Southern Section Champions for Character Award. He's been married to his awesome wife, Kelly, for 24 years, and together they have 2 daughters. Coach Esposito graduated from Cal Baptist University with a Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology and holds a master's in phys ed from Azusa Pacific University. Please welcome Coach Bert Esposito.
As president of SIFCA, I get to be involved with a lot of different coaches and a lot of different ideas and stuff, and we continue to get a feel for where everybody's at and get information from you guys. And the other day when this whole thing came out, we all got together as a board and we decided to come up with our media response. And I want to read through this real quick so that you can get to know exactly where we stand on this as an organization. Recent news of 2 California legislators, Kevin McCarty, Democrat Sacramento, and Lorena Gonzalez-Fletcher, Democrat San Diego, have introduced a bill called Safe Youth Football Act. This proposed bill calls for the lawful ban of youth tackle football statewide. In a press release dated February 8, 2018, bill sponsors McCarty and Gonzalez stated that, quote, children who wait until high school to play tackle football have a better chance of avoiding the net effects of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, including depression, memory loss, and dementia, unquote. The Safe Youth Football Act will be considered in the spring of 2018. California would be the only state in the nation to set a minimum age requirement for youth tackle football. The Southern California Football Coaches Association and youth tackle football organizations throughout California agree that the safety of our children is paramount importance. To this end, our organizations are committed to research-driven, fundamental, best instructional practices for teaching safe and sound tackle football techniques. SIFCA supports tackle football coaches from youth through college and believe that tackle football has never been safer. Nationwide changes over the past decade to coaching education and certification, game and practice rules, safety protocols, practice organization have created an environment that has made tackle football a safer game. The benefits of organized youth tackle football, teamwork, dedication, discipline, commitment, and many more are widely accepted and known. A rudimentary Google search reveals that there is no consensus in the medical community linking youth tackle football and other youth sports to long-lasting brain injuries. While we support the goal of safety for our youth, this proposed bill is an overreaction to an issue we take very seriously. Furthermore, we support the parents' right to choose appropriate activities to gain the benefits listed above for their own children. This proposed bill strips this freedom of choice from parents. We urge you to contact your state legislators to voice your opposition to this proposed bill. You can find them here, and then of course it's findyourrep.legislator.california.gov. This is what we put out there as our beliefs as an organization, and we found that almost every single coach we've talked to is in the same belief. Obviously, we all have a right to believe or not believe, but we need to. I think it's very paramount and very evident that football is definitely safer now than it's ever been. We've all coached back in the days where you drank, they gave you salt tablets, you couldn't have water. These are the things that we grew up with, and we're noticing today a whole different world of football. USA Football has done a phenomenal job of introducing better ways for the youth to get involved with the game. We're all in on that. We're not arguing that the game is a tough game and it's a vicious game and it can grow into that. But we are showing that we want to make it safer, especially for the youth. And those things are being put into play. We really believe that this bill right here would put the cart in front of the horse. Okay, it's just something that would just really change our game in a way that I don't know if we would ever recover from it. And I just believe that before we do things of that nature, we need to go through the processes. And we need to make sure that nothing comes into play on that. And let this whole thing play itself out.